So obviously I'm really happy we've been on a good run of beating the teams that we should be beating down at the bottom of the table. But if I do have one regret in all of this, it's the fact that we're helping Tottenham stay out of the relegation zone. What's up, guys, and welcome to the Blues and Stripes. So we're going to look ahead to the Leeds match tomorrow, but I did want to quickly go over some of what I talked about in the quick review of the Wolves match, because I wanted to expand a bit on some of what I said, because in that short amount of time, I didn't really get all of my feelings out. And first and foremost, I did want to address what I said about it being the most Maresca-like performance that we've seen from Rosenior. And to be fair to him, while the performance was very Maresca-like, the result was not. I feel like that's the type of match where first half we dominated, but with Maresca, we wouldn't have seen 3 goals, we might have seen 1 or 2. Then second half, they come out flying, they get that 1 goal, and now all of a sudden they have a chance to either get a point off of us or go and get the win. So in that sense, it wasn't really like Maresca, because we ended the match comfortably 3-1 up. But the performance itself, that first half domination, then second half coming out and not really taking advantage of it, letting Wolves get the upper hand. That's more so the Maresca-esque performance that I was talking about. And to be fair, like I've said before, it's still early days with Rosenior. I mean, that was his 9th match in charge, and as I said before, I'm going to wait at least until 10 before I start looking at the performances and the results, because it's still early days for him, and honestly, even after 10 matches, it's not like I'm going to heavily critique all of his performances like I would be for Maresca if he were still here. But a couple things that I did want to address, because I did give some quick ratings too. So first of all, for Palmer, obviously getting a hat-trick in the first half, breaking that record for the most first half hat-tricks in Premier League history. Yes, it's dampened a little bit by the fact that 2 of them were penalties, but I still look at his overall performance, and I think this is a lot more of the Palmer that we want to see. And of course, there's been a lot talked about his post-match comments as well, talking about how Rosenior's letting them play more freely, which does feel like a dig at Maresca. He did say after the Conference League final how he's sick of passing side to side. So I do honestly think that Palmer wasn't really happy with Maresca in charge. I don't think it's to the level where all of these rumors about him wanting to go back to Manchester, maybe wanting to go to Man U, I don't think all those rumors were well founded, but I do think he was having a lot less fun under Maresca than he was under Poch. That's not to say he didn't have some great moments here under Maresca, but I think a lot of that came down to when he was teamed up with Jackson or when he was teamed up with João Pedro, which after Jackson's injury was very few and far between. So I do think his confidence took a hit. I also think because of the injury, he was not at his best this season. So I think trying to come into this very rigid Maresca system off the back of an injury and off of the back of what has been a long time away, I think there was a lot about his game that was not as good as we're used to seeing from him. And so I think Rosenior's come in and almost sort of letting these guys play the way that they want to play. That's not to say, hey, just do whatever, don't care about working for the team, but it's been nice to see a little bit more adaptability. It's been nice to see Rosenior taking those moments to switch up the game plan if he sees something is not working. And so I do think that Palmer performance against Wolves is going to be a bit more of the norm, because even outside of the goals that he scored, his movement on the ball looked a little bit more comfortable. A couple of moments where he's taking it on the turn, he's finding some good passes through. It's that nice link-up play that we've seen from him, and then of course the goals came along with it, which was very nice. But outside of Palmer, a couple of the other ratings that I gave that I wanted to expand upon a little bit more. For Neto, as I've said before, I'm one of his defenders. I think he does a good job for the team. I think he's a very hard worker, and I think he does get overly criticized just because he's not the goal or assist machine that typically you do want your winger to be. But he's been so effective at being a workhorse for us. I mean, just look at PSG, just look at Barcelona, look at how he was utilized in those games to keep track of the right back, who typically gets forward, typically would hurt us in a match like that. If not for Neto working back and tracking Hakimi, Koundé, Timber in the Arsenal match too, if not for him, that match could have been a lot different. So I do think he doesn't get as much respect as he deserves for the hard work he puts in, but even I'll hold up my hands and admit he's not been at his best recently, and I don't know how much of that is because Rosenior's system does not match Maresca's. Maybe a player like Neto is not quite as useful here, because it does feel like his wings are not the stay on the line and run up and down like we saw under Maresca. He does allow them to be a bit more fluid, they cut inside a bit more, so maybe that's not quite Neto's game, so he might just be adjusting to the system. But I gave him a 5, not because of his work rate. His work rate was a lot better than what we saw in the previous matches. I called out his work rate. Can't remember if it was Napoli or West Ham. I just remember one of those matches, or both of them maybe, he was not nearly as hardworking as I've seen him before. But in this match in particular, he was working a bit harder. He was giving us some more options that I think we're used to seeing from him. However, when he got into the good attacking positions, he did waste some good chances. That's also why, for me, Enzo's all-around play was pretty good, but I did drop him down to a 6 because he wasted some really good chances to get us some goals in that match. I mean, the 2 moments in particular that come to mind for Enzo, it was the Rabona attempt whenever he's one-on-one with the keeper. He ended up being called offside, but on the replay, it looked pretty tight. He might have been on. And so to attempt a Rabona instead of just putting it in. And there's also the one where the goalkeeper is off the line, and instead of hitting the target, he ends up hitting the defender in front of him. And then the one moment for Neto is the one where Enzo crosses it in. Perfect ball, back post, wide open header, misses the target entirely. That's just not good enough, unfortunately. So yeah, both of them, they were hampered by the fact that they did miss some clear-cut chances that really should have been put away. But to be fair to both of them, I did think they put in a good overall performance. It's just those big moments did cost them in my ratings. And then for Gusto, I already talked a bit about his defending on the corner that led to their goal, but his overall play, once again, was just not good enough. His passing wasn't good enough. There was one cross. He's in a ton of space, and all he has to do is just find a target, and he ends up putting it at the backside of the box where nobody is. I'm just not seeing what he brings, and I know James is not fit, so you have to play somebody there, and I know Achapong wants to be a center back, but for me, it's as simple as you put Achapong a right back, you have Cucurella be the wing back, go up the pitch, and then Achapong can drop in and be the third center back. We've seen that happen before, and I think it's a pretty solid system, especially with Santos and Caicedo sitting in front of them. That's a very solid back five. So I don't understand why that's not being attempted. And again, I'm not going to harp too much on Rosenior because, like I said, he's still early days here. But the problem that I'm having more so is, what is Gusto doing that Rosenior's looking at and going, yes, I want him in the team? I know he works hard, but the quality is just not there. And there have been several instances of that since the Palace match where he helped give up the corner and then also helped give up the goal. Every single match since, he's featured, he's started, I think, all of them, and he's just not been good enough. I know some people disagree. I know some people think he's still a top talent. I think they're still going off of what they saw under Poch, and I just don't think he's that player anymore. Could he be that player again? Maybe. But I think Maresca really killed him in the inverted fullback system. I just don't think he's grown enough in the past year, and now he's hurting us with his defensive frailties. So I'm just done seeing him. I don't want to see him anymore. Obviously, it's going to come down to if James is fit, if Achampong is trusted. And unfortunately, while it does seem like James is going to be back for this match against Leeds, I don't think Achampong has the trust yet, for whatever reason. I don't know why. As much as Maresca and Rosenior want to say they trust him, clearly there's something about him, whether it's his age, whether it's something he's doing in training. There's something about him that is keeping him from really getting involved in the first team. He gets little bit part moments and then we don't see him for a few matches. Even if he does really well, he had one great run out of the back against Wolves. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him at all in the next match. But with that, we can look ahead to Leeds tomorrow. This is one where we need to get some payback. The loss against Leeds is where our bad run of form started under Maresca, so this would be a good chance to keep our good run going against them. It's also at home, which does give us a boost, but we have to assume that they're going to be coming out of the gates fast. They've been in a really good run of form recently, obviously getting themselves a huge relegation battle win against Forest on Friday this past weekend. So we have to expect that they're going to come in with a lot of confidence. Does that mean they're going to step high against us? I'm not sure. But if they do, I like the fact that we are seeing we have a good system in place. Because I've said for the past couple of matches against West Ham and against Wolves, I've said the midfield three of Caicedo, Santos, and Fernandez, I worried about them. Because I expected West Ham and Wolves to maybe sit a bit deeper and try to hit us on the counter. And honestly, both of those teams, they did step out against us pretty high. And that did open up some space for us to pass through the midfield. And especially for Wolves, I mean, it was very easy to pass through that midfield once we got in our rhythm. So if Leeds do come out as high, I might take a little bit of adjusting in the first 10-15 minutes, but I think once we do adjust, we'll see this midfield, what it can do, what it's capable of as far as breaking through that high press. Assuming all three of them will play. I know Santos dealt with a little bit of a knock against Wolves. I assume he's fit and ready, but I don't know if he's ready to start. He might be more so fit to come off the bench. But one thing I like about what we've seen so far is even if Santos isn't fit, I think we've got some other options that we can put in there. I think Hato's looked pretty good when he stepped into midfield. James is going to be back as well, according to Rosenior, so he's capable of stepping into the midfield alongside Caicedo. So we have some other good options in there if Santos is not available. But I think for Caicedo and Fernandez, we are seeing them at the peak of what they're capable of right now. So while I don't think that having both of them sitting deeper is a good option, I think having both of them in the midfield is a very important thing. I think Rosenior's found a way to make it work where Fernandez can stay a bit higher while giving Caicedo the help he needs in the midfield to make sure he could still be the destroyer in there that we know he's capable of being. So with all that being said though, let's look at my preferred lineup. The back five shouldn't be any surprise at all. Sanchez in goal, James at right back, Cucurella at left back, Chalobah and Fofana at the center. But for me, that's our best back line right now. In the midfield, if Santos is fully available, I would like to see Santos and Caicedo. And assuming everybody else is fit too, I'd like to see Fernandez, Palmer, Esteval, and João Pedro up top. One thing that I did find very interesting about Enzo, and this is something we've seen a little bit under Rosenior so far, is he likes to play him off to the left, which isn't too different than what we've seen from him before. Because before under Maresca, it was Enzo would step up and be the left-sided 10 with Palmer on the right, and then one of the fullbacks would step up and be another 6 alongside Caicedo. Now what we're seeing is we have 2 6s in Caicedo and Santos. Enzo is starting on the left, but he's cutting inside, and Cucurella is the one providing the width down the left side. So it's still similar to the final setup that we saw under Maresca, just instead of having a fullback invert, it's more of a wing back coming around the left side. And I think that's been working well. On top of that, it would allow Palmer and Esteval to really combine well on the right side. And as I've said before, I do want to see more of this Pep combination with Palmer, Esteval, and Pedro. I think those 3 are going to be very deadly going forward if we can get them clicking together. And we've already seen a little bit of it when we face Napoli, but I want to see them continue to grow that combination and that chemistry between the 3 of them. The last thing is, if Santos is not available to start from the beginning, personally, I would like to see James step into the midfield, and I would like to see Achimpong at right back. Because again, I think Cucurella stepping up down the line, Achimpong slides in as part of a back 3. I think that could be very effective. Or another option could be Hato. I think he's done well when he stepped into the midfield. I know he's typically better at left back. He's also done pretty well at left center back on the back 3 too. So I think there's some versatility there, which is good. But I think my main preference would be James steps into midfield alongside Caicedo, because that combination in there is very effective at breaking up any sort of counterattacking play. And again, I think Achimpong at right back sliding into a back 3, I think he could be very good at that. And I know he wants to play center back, but this is sort of a version of that I think he could be good at. And it's something that if Rosenior could get him to buy into, it would mean a lot less of seeing Gusto, which would also be nice. But I think that'll do it for now. Once again, I won't be able to get the review up right after the match because I do have some plans, but I am hoping to get it up maybe early the next morning. So look forward to that, but until then, cue the outro. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more Chelsea previews, reviews, and talks. Also, let me know what your thoughts are down below, whether you agree, disagree, or just want to call me stupid. Let me know, we can talk about it, discuss all that good stuff. Also, if you want to hear me talk about TV shows and movies that I like, check out my channel Mason the Brock Henderson, where I upload reviews every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. As well as if you want to watch me play through video games and try to make it entertaining for you, I have a Let's Play channel, Meso Hendo Plays, where I upload every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Also, if you do want to help me grow this channel, I do have a Patreon where all the funds and donations will go directly into improving this channel's quality. But I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace out, and up the Chels.